Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new podcast, Two Men, One Beard, with myself, Munu, and my mate.
JB, that's me.
We decided to do a new podcast, well, mainly due to the fact that we're always on Discord or TeamSpeak or whatever, one of those chats, that chat thing. And we'll talk for at least 2 hours about random crap. We're not even playing games really, because I don't like games and JB's too rubbish at them for me. But anyway, so we thought, why not record it? We'll put it on a podcast. We got a video for everyone to see as well on YouTube. Hopefully the podcast will go onto Spotify and all the other places as well. We haven't really decided where we're going yet.
Sure. Yep.
But essentially, our main goal for this podcast is to show the fact that we have fortes. So JB's forte is shoes and fashion.
Not really. I wish.
He knows a lot more about it than I do. I have no idea. I don't even put laces in my shoes. That's how far I go. My forte is films. I watch films all the time, to the point where I don't have a life. And I study film at university, so I don't have a good job. But yeah, so we thought, why not put it all onto film and audio and give it a go and see what people think. So JB,
Yep.
why shoes?
Why shoes? I think so. From a very young age, my family couldn't really afford any Jordans, Nike, Adidas, anything like that. So what we'd actually do is we'd go home to the Philippines, and there's this place in the Philippines, a very infamous place called Green Hills.
Green Hills.
And it's pretty much just a fake market. So a lot of the shoes when I was younger, it would be like some fake Nikes,
Yeah.
Jordans. And the funniest thing is that I remember buying this like DC shoes, and this was in my primary school.
DC, the
Yeah,
superhero, or
No, like so it's a skateboard brand.
Converse.
Yeah, your skating brand. No.
Yeah.
And they have like just pretty much the skate shoes. And I remember getting one, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I went to school one day. I left school with the sole literally separated from the upper, and it was literally, I was like,
is it because it was fake?
Yeah, it was fake. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. It looked, to me back then, it looked genuine, but it's funnily enough, I didn't know they were fake when I was younger. So
Yeah.
my parents would pretty much just cover it up and saying, yeah, this is like the new Jordans, and we'd just look at the market, and we'd never, because obviously I didn't come from like a really rich background, so we never really were introduced to like actual retail stores of Nike, DC or whatever. But yeah, I think that's the first one, and I've always looked up to my brother. He's been a big shoe guy, big clothes guy, and when I realized, I was like, I can't change what I look like, but I can change what clothes I have, so why not? So I think, to me, that's what got me into it. But unfortunately, I don't work in any fields related to shoes or clothes, but oh well, whatever. Life goes on.
Yeah, you don't really need to work there, but you do to enjoy
True.
it. Like, I can understand getting discounts.
Yeah.
That probably would be a main factor.
I think at a certain point, I was very interested in potentially designing. Like,
yeah, I remember
making my own shoes, or like. But then again, nowadays you could just customize things. It's not really too difficult.
Yeah. Well, you never know. With Two Men, One Beard going global, we might get our own shoes.
Yeah, get some shoes. Collaboration with everybody.
As long as they're laceless, obviously. But yeah, that's actually, I never actually knew that story. I never knew about the
that's very cool, right?
the DC with the shoe falling apart.
It's an embarrassing story, so I just forget about it. I wish I was like Men in Black. Just.
But yeah, that's interesting. You brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
Thinking about JB before I knew JB.
Are you sure it's tears, not sweat?
It probably is sweat. If you can see her sweating, it is August during the heat wave in Britain. If you're listening from anywhere else across the world where it's hotter, I don't care, because we are actually sweating. We have been outside, and yeah, I had to change my top because I literally sweat through it.
Grey's not the best. T-shirts, yeah.
But yeah, so that was why JB likes shoes, and why he has a fascination with it, and why he likes to collect, essentially.
Yep. So how about you? Munu, how do you wanna? How did you get into film? What was the thing that ignited for you to study? You think, I want to study that. I want to dedicate pretty much your whole life.
I'm not. I can't pinpoint the exact moment where I fell in love with films.
Sure.
Right? So I've always been in love with films. I've always watched them. What I do remember is growing up, we had this lodger who lived with us. We lived in a 2-bed house, and we had this lodger to obviously help with money and shit. And so essentially, this lodger brought a whole. I remember it being VHS. So a whole bag, like massive bag full of VHS. And I used to wake up back then. I don't wake up early now, but I used to wake up back then at like 6 o'clock. And so I'll go down there, no one's there, so I'll rummage through the bag and pick out any random one. I remember one of the first ones I watched, and I wasn't a big fan of horror movies back then. And this isn't really a horror movie, it's more of a horror comedy, but a scary movie. I remember putting that in, and that being one of the first films I watched on that VHS player with the Lodger's VHS tapes. And I was like, okay, no one else is awake yet, let's put another one in. So I remember just carry on watching these, and I was like, okay. Growing up, my mum used to make me watch Bollywood films. I love Bollywood films. Shah Rukh Khan is the GOAT. I don't know if anyone knows who Shah Rukh Khan is. Do you know who Shah Rukh Khan is, JB?
No.
Well, I always talk to you about him, so clearly you don't listen.
It's a joke, everybody.
But yeah, I used to watch all those films. I think in year 3, I got my first lead role in a school play. So it was called A Scarecrow's Christmas. So it was a Christmas play that wasn't a nativity. So yeah, it was interesting. And I played the Scarecrow. So I played the main character, the Scarecrow. I was on stage the whole time wearing what my mum described as Incredible Hulk clothes. So it was a blue...
Ripped.
Yeah, so it was a ripped, like, denim t-shirt sort of thing, and these weird red shorts. So it basically looked like Incredible Hulk, except I wasn't green, I was obviously brown. And so... Yeah, I remember falling in love with acting. So my first foray into the film world, into the acting world, was that year 3 play.
Okay.
And so I wanted to be an actor for quite a long time. And I realized I'm not very good at acting. Like, I can do random stuff, but when it comes to it, stage fright gets me. And I'm like, right, I preferred coming up with the stories.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So I've come up with the stories, come up with the ideas, and hopefully making them out there. So when I got to secondary school where we met, I sort of honed my skills. I was always in the creative writing. I was always in the media.
Plays.
Yeah. So I was always I was still acting in plays, but I liked the fact that I was able to direct scenes in there. Obviously in a primary school.
You took a part in directing.
So I remember there was one where we did Grease, and there was a scene that it required the boys to have a fight. So I was part of the T-Birds. We had to have a fight amongst each other, and there was. We didn't really have enough time. So I remember no one really turned up to audition, to rehearsals and stuff. So we had like literally a few days to figure out how we're going to do this fight scene. It wasn't a proper fight scene, but it was like it had to show the main character getting away from his T-Birds essentially.
Okay.
And so I got the chance to direct that because the actual director, Miss Aspinall, she had to focus on other stuff.
Okay, cool.
So I was like, oh yeah, that's actually, I like doing that. You know, it's like I like directing people. I like saying, oh yeah, you go over there, you go over there. Like, that's where I started to be like, okay, maybe that's my part of it. Maybe I shouldn't act. Maybe I should do that. So yeah, when it comes to media in school, I like the fact that I was able to make a film. We actually used green screen and stuff. I thought that's really cool. And so I took it to university. And I was like, yes, I love this. Okay, so we just need to explain something quite quickly. So we spoke earlier about how hot it is outside, and it's during the August heat wave. This is making the camera overheat and it keeps turning itself off. So if it sounds choppy and changey, it's for that reason. Hopefully when we film future episodes, it will be cooler and the phone camera that we're using won't overheat. So the sound is all right. So it'll be all right for the Spotify users, but because we're going to put this on YouTube, we also need the video to work. So yeah, we spoke about our passions and why we're into shoes and film. What we should do now is obviously introduce ourselves and how we met.
Yeah.
So you said that you had a story.
So I had a story. So it was I think when I first met Munu, it was in food tech. Yeah. So I was lucky enough to share a table with Munu over here, and in that lesson we had to make bread and butter pudding. And as you may know, cinnamon is a very important ingredient.
Yeah.
But according to Munu over here, I think you might need a whole kilogram of cinnamon per serving. So, would you care to explain what happened?
Right. So what JB is saying is that the whole room smelled like cinnamon after we put our bread and butter puddings in the oven, and obviously the teacher came around trying to figure out who the culprit was.
Yeah.
And me being me is always suspect number one in anything that happens in school. If there was something that went wrong, I was suspect number one. So the way obviously food tech works, I'm not sure how it works in other schools, but in our school we have to bring our own ingredients. And my mum would separate my ingredients and measure them out for me so that I didn't take too much of her stuff, because she loved cooking and she didn't want me to take all of it. So what happened was she measured everything, and I went to make this bread and butter pudding, thinking that the cinnamon was also measured out. And it was a Ziploc bag, like full of cinnamon, like, and I dumped the whole thing onto the tray. I thought, that's fine. I thought, that's what was supposed to happen. 2 minutes later, we put it in the oven, the whole thing is smelling out. The whole school is smelling like cinnamon. And what JB remembers is what I said. What did I say?
So, Munu over here, instead of saying cinnamon, I can recall this very well, because this is what reminds me of this day, is that he used to call it cinnamon. And I used to just find that so hilarious.
I couldn't say cinnamon, so I had to add the extra bits to it.
To be honest, I reckon this, if we ever go back there, it's probably still like cinnamon at this point. Actually, cinnamon according to you. So yeah. Yeah,
I do remember. I do remember that day. I remember it smelling so strong. But obviously, that's how you.
I guess first.
Impressions.
I would say. But then when you were actually introduced to my group of friends, I think it was more of you being introduced through a mutual friend, Aaron, and I think you guys had you guys both played cricket, right?
Yeah. Standard Asian thing to do.
Yeah. How did your career go?
I made, I think, 2 runs in the whole 5-year career at school cricket.
Fantastic.
And didn't take a wicket, so. I was brilliant.
Yeah. Was it as scuffed as this podcast?
Well, to be fair, this podcast, even though we forgot to record at one point, the camera keeps overheating, it's still better than my cricket career.
That's it.
So Aaron introduced me to you guys.
Yeah.
The people I was hanging out with before year 7 and 8, they weren't model citizens, I would say.
Model citizens.
So I was glad that I joined you guys. My life path went a different direction than people would have thought it went. And that's how Munu and JB have become a formidable
duo.
Yeah.
Better than Jackie Chan,
Chris Tucker.
Chris Rock.
Chris Tucker, man. Chris Tucker. Chris Rock is the other
sorry.
So we're Chris Rock and Jackie Chan, who I don't remember ever making a film together, but we're that dynamic.
Rush Minute. That's what it is.
Rush Minute. So it's 13 years now. 13 years since we officially became friends.
Yes. 13 years of bribing me to become your friend.
Well, trust me, if I had the money to pay someone to be my friend, I'd pick someone else. Someone a bit more street cred. But 13 years strong, really.
We're about to marry each other in like a year's time.
He's been asking for that for a long time.
I've been asking for his hand, but
but essentially we thought
that's a joke. Just to clear. So now we're going to move on to our first review segment, which is going to be my review segment, which is going to be about a shoe.
Okay.
A shoe or anything footwear related, because our shoe today is not actually a shoe, it's actually a slide. It is the Adidas Yeezy slide in the Onyx colorway.
Onyx, as in the Pokemon, or?
Yeah. I mean, is it the same color? It's Onyx. Onyx is
no idea.
So this is a very popular shoe at the moment. obviously with this weather, slides are really popular. I personally do not wear this, but from what I've heard, this shoe gets too warm in this weather.
So it defeats the purpose.
Kinda. I've heard that people that wear this kind of get pain on their feet when they wear this, but obviously I've never. To me, it looks cool. It's not for me. I would rather just walk barefoot. But that's just my opinion. Munu, I'll leave it to you.
All right.
Your review.
So obviously I don't know anything about shoes. I've never cared about fashion. I'm currently wearing a plain black t-shirt that I just swapped into due to the heat. But yeah, so what I can see is that there's a weird bump in this heel bit.
Yeah.
Which has the Adidas logo on it.
Yeah.
Is it Adidas or Adidas?
I think it's different from whether you're from America or here.
I was going to say Adidas. All right, so is that necessary? Is it necessary to put a bump in there?
I honestly think it's more of comfort. So I've put a Yeezy slide on, but yeah, I think it's just more of comfort. I think that's the thing that people want the most nowadays, especially when it comes to Yeezys. I think comfort's really big. What do you think of the sole, the ridged sole?
It reminds me of oven baked crisps. So it's making me a little bit hungry.
Yeah.
But not too bad. I wear flat stuff.
Yeah.
Last time I wore something like this was probably football shoes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not too bad there. But what I would say about this slide in general is, like random YouTube videos you can watch, like weird creatures. Right. This reminds you of like a cave dwelling giant slug or something. Like, look at that bit is a face.
I can see it, but
if you put it up like that, and then if we animate it, you can literally get this to move, and it literally would look like an insect that's moving. So I wouldn't buy these. I don't think my feet can even fit in these.
Well, that's it's because size 7.
Size 7?
Yes, size 7.
Alright, so I'm a size 12, so they definitely won't fit in these ones.
You can try.
I can sort of see why people would get too hot in this. I'm feeling it right now.
It's the material, yeah, it's the material. Try squishing it, actually. No, the sole. See how soft it is. I think that's the main thing.
So that is soft.
Yeah, and bear in mind that this shoe is £50 retail. Unfortunately, it's very hard to get.
Yeah.
But it's fairly cheap. Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan of it, to be fair.
No, look at it, no laces though.
True, there are no laces, but I'm not a fan of slides anyway, and this doesn't put it in my books for a good slide.
Sure.
I definitely wouldn't buy these. I'm getting hot thinking about wearing them. And I remember you telling me once that some people took these to the beach and they got nicked.
Yeah. So I think, people were going to nick them. So I think
essentially, you can't take them out in the heat because it's too hot.
Oh.
And if you do take them to the beach, and
people could potentially steal them.
Yeah,
I think it's more of that. Yeah.
What are you going to do with it? Like, wear it at home?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Like for me, you only buy this if you want to flex.
True.
Essentially.
True.
I've got a pair of Adidas slides that I think were like £5 from
probably better, to be honest.
Yeah, so I literally think these are a flex item, which you can't practically do anything with.
So I think we how about giving it a rating out of 10?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Munu out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 3.
3.
And 2 of those 3 points are just because I like Kanye West's older music. Like, not his most recent stuff, not his most recent personality. Interesting. I do like Kanye West's older music. I'm not a massive fan of music, but Kanye West is. I got a playlist on Spotify.
Interesting. I didn't know you were into really old Kanye West, but yeah, cool.
So that's like 2 out of it. 1 point will probably be the soul. Anything that looks like food is fine to me. If I do see these out on the beach, I will probably try and eat them instead of nick them. So
rich crisps.
Yeah.
So or chips to you Americans.
I'll give it 3 out of 10 solely because I don't think there's any use in them.
Fair enough, because I understand your point where it literally defeats the purpose of slides. So
yeah, I wouldn't even give this to my cat to beat up either. I think he would probably just ignore it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my Munu opinion on the Yeezy slides. What version is it? Is there a version to this?
Yeah, there is a version. This is the restock version. So this is much more textured. As you can see, it's shiny, but the older version was completely shiny or whatever. Here it has a bit more of a... But yeah, for me, easy 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It's not really my favorite, but you can't go wrong with slides. You need some sort of slides to your... You just need slides. Like, to me, you need some sort of footwear that's really breathable and
so
easy to slip on.
Days like this, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I if it does get... I don't wear it, but yeah, when it gets too hot, apparently it's really bad. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
That's our review of the Yeezy slide. So, yeah.
Yeah. It feels like it's going to attack me any moment now, but yeah, excellent. We're now going to move on to my segment. So, my speciality is film, and we're going to do a film review right now.
Yep.
First, before I go into that, how much film knowledge do you reckon you have?
0? Is that the way? -1 probably.
I wouldn't go that far. We've spoken about films before, which is one of the reasons why we're involving film in this podcast.
Sure.
Because I know that we have different views on different films. There's some films I think are really good, and you think, oh no, that's not. There's films that you think are really good, and I think, well, why would you go for that? So the film that we're going to do first, and this is only first because it's I think the most recent film we've watched together in the cinema.
True. Yeah.
So I convinced JB to come with me to was it Odeon? And to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. We rehearsed that name quite a few times because we didn't know the order completely.
It was Everywhere All at Once.
But yeah, so we're going to focus on that film today. So I know that there's been mixed reviews of this film. There's a lot of people saying it's amazing, a lot of people saying it's naff. I'm one of those people that agree that it's an amazing film. I think I loved it. I was like, damn, this is great. There's weird scenes in there that I was like, whoa, okay, like who comes up with these ideas? And I think the whole purpose of that film, right? So what I would say is there's a lot of multiverse action going on these days.
Yeah.
It was obviously with Marvel joining the multiverse. I know that DC their TV shows went on to Crisis of Earth, I think it was called,
really?
Which was like different versions of Superman and stuff like that all in one. And it was a fresh take. It was essentially, it stars Michelle Yeoh, who is an amazing actress. She has been in a lot of films in China, and she was one of the few actors from the Orient to travel into Hollywood.
Yeah.
But she joined like with Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and all those guys. And she plays a what do you say, typical Asian mother, where she's a bit controlling over her daughter.
I'm not Asian, so I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Yeah, so I would say it's very the way that her character is in that movie. It's very like a really strict parent.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Very anti what her daughter wants to do.
Yes.
And just kind of, she was literally the boss of that of
the matriarch.
Yeah,
the matriarch.
Matriarch.
But yeah, essentially, the film progresses through the fact that in different multiverses, her daughter pushes her away. And creates this sort of super being who travels the multiverse to destroy. I think they essentially destroy every single version of her parents.
Yep.
And I thought that was unique. Where Doctor Strange was a bit. I didn't mind Doctor Strange, but it was just a bit, okay, there was 3 different versions of Doctor Strange. Fun, right? With stuff we've already seen in What If and all of that. But yeah, this one I think was a fresh take on the genre. It was made by people who have made brilliant films before, like Ex Machina. I think they're called the Davids. I think it's 2 different directors called David. I would have to double check that because I could have got that completely wrong.
Needed someone to fact check.
But yeah, I thought it was a fresh take. I thought the story was decent. You thought it was a bit too long, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Would you like me? Yeah. So to me, I felt like the movie was very hard to get into.
Okay.
To me, I think from from my perspective, I think it was just very. It started off really slow, I would say. Where, to be honest, I didn't know what the concept of the movie was. All I knew was something about the multiverse. But right at the start, it just looked like a normal day at a laundrette. That's pretty much what it was. And I just felt like there was a lot more. So it tried to be really funny, which it did some cases. However, it was just so hard to get into the movie. And for how long? So first, hard to get the movie for me. And then I just couldn't. I just felt like it was dragged on for too long. There was a lot of. I do like the concept of having multiple. And I do agree with you when you saying it's a really fresh take.
Yeah.
But I just felt like I preferred Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Just because to me it was just like. It was just a mindless show. It was just like you're just gonna watch a superhero beat up some bad dudes. That's it. You know, I knew what I was getting.
Yeah.
However, I do understand where you're coming from, but I did not enjoy this movie. I just wasn't really feeling it. It just, I don't know. I'm just an amateur take, but that's my take.
Well, I've always said if you want to make a film, you gotta expect everyone to review and criticize.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I that's what I never beef anyone that says, oh, they hate this film and they hate this film, because it's everyone's opinion.
Definitely.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was weird, and it was brave to be that weird, because it had the hot dog hand scenes, and so basically there's a universe where everyone's got hot dog for fingers.
Right. Yes. That makes sense.
And that was just wacky. It was just like, why is that there? But I just thought, okay, that makes sense, because it's a multiverse. There's someone out there thinking, oh, what if I had hot dogs for fingers?
Yeah.
And there would be a parallel universe.
True.
With that idea. That's how I think. I'm not a scientist, but I think that's how parallel universes might work.
Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from when it's really wacky, and it's just, to me, I also found some of the jokes way too. To me, just a little bit like I didn't really. Are you
thinking more funny of the rock scene where they're both two bits of rock?
Well, I think the main one that I didn't really find funny, because I knew I was expecting it, but it was the fighting scene in the office, and there was that trophy. I'm sure you know what I'm on about.
Yes.
Yeah, I get the joke, but to me it was just like. I knew it was coming. It literally, they showed the trophy right at the start of the movie.
Yeah. A phallic trophy.
Yeah. And I just remember looking at it, and I was like, "That's not a trophy." To me, I was back in my deep in my mind. I just had that. I guess that's that. I guess description of that thing. And yeah, it's just, to me, I don't know. I just found it really. I don't know.
Bizarre.
Like, bizarre. I don't know. It's just very different. It's a very different movie. I must give it that. But it's not my kind of movie.
So I agree where not everything different is better.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I know, especially with certain films, people say, "Oh, it was different to other films in the franchise." I'm not going to explain which one I'm on about, because it might cause a few problems. But I didn't like it because it was different. And people are like, "Oh, but the difference makes it better." I was like, no, just because you're not like the other films in the franchise doesn't mean you're the best one.
True.
Like, it was just rubbish. But yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once was released. It was 2022, was it? We watched it.
Yeah.
I think it was only a few months ago.
This year.
Yeah. And if you want to watch it, it's. I'm not sure if it's on any platforms. It's an A24 movie, so it probably. Will be on certain channels on streaming services, not actually on streaming services itself.
A24 isn't that like
a bypass?
No, we're A24. Isn't it like an independent movie?
Yeah, so they've done films like Ex Machina, which is really good, with Oscar Isaac in it, and Domhnall Gleeson.
Okay.
Surprisingly about this film, the father in this. Because I remember after we watched it, I was like, I swear I've seen that guy before, and we couldn't picture him. I was like, is he from this film? So I googled him, and he was actually the little Oriental kid in Indiana Jones, and I think Temple of Doom, I think it is. So the little guy that was also in the Goonies, and it was just so weird seeing him older because I think he disappeared for a bit. I remember reading something about him. He stayed away from films and focused on martial arts and stuff for a while. But yeah, I thought overall I'll give it. I'd say I did on my Instagram page. I got a review Instagram page which I put in the comments below, but I did put 5 out of 5 on there. Upon reflection, I'm gonna put 4 because 5 out of 5 is quite high, and it's not in the same caliber as some other 5 out of 5s. So yeah, I will give it 4 out of 5.
To me, I would give it the same, but 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
Yeah, 4 out of 10. I don't know. I just really didn't really enjoy it.
Fair enough.
I do like movies that are sometimes easy to watch, and I expect it to be something that's easy to watch, but
it wasn't.
It wasn't. There was a lot of layers onto it.
Yes.
There's loads of concepts that they had, and I just don't think I was ready.
Fair enough.
I think I think it was after work, so I was knackered probably.
That's completely fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of that one then.
All right.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of our first episode. How was it for you? How was your first podcast episode?
Horrible. I'm so nervous. I'm sweating so much.
To be fair, I think the sweat is more from the heat. From nerves. I think we've done all right. It obviously depends on what these guys think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought we had a good show.
Yeah, I would say.
We're just gonna have a brief chat now about the future of the podcast. Because obviously we've got this down as a review podcast. So mainly film and shoots, and hopefully in the future we can review, I don't know, food because we love to eat.
Mukbang.
Review other stuff, whatever comes to our mind. Hopefully we'll also talk about current events and stuff like that, because at the moment we're filming a few episodes back to back.
Yep.
Just so that we know like the direction we're going to do at the beginning.
And just this is trial run, I guess.
But essentially we would love to be able to talk crap for about 15 minutes of a podcast about relevant issues happening. We're not going to get political, but you know, like just talk, see how our weeks have gone since between each episode, because we're going to try and upload weekly episodes. And yeah, we'll just try to do a discussion podcast as well. We're hoping we'll get some guests.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah.
We get some people who are into fashion, into film.
Into anything.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be people that are people who also want to expose their passions and stuff. So we can be a platform to help for an audience.
Well, yeah. That's definitely true.
But yeah, essentially we just want to do a podcast that we enjoy.
Yeah. That's sounds like what I want as well. So
so obviously we brought in a shoe today. We don't have millions of shoes lying around.
We do. It's lying. We do.
We have a warehouse. But yeah, we also would do other reviews on potential future shoes, like say Kanye West brings out a new floating shoe, or you know, Elon Musk brings out a Tesla shoe or something, whatever.
Meme shoes.
Do those, talk about future of films. We're both Marvel fans.
No, I prefer DC.
Disney.
Yeah?
DC? Oh,
DC.
Talk about future films that are happening. Maybe even talk about a certain film that we wrote together not too long ago for a competition that we didn't get very far in. We could talk about that maybe in a future episode.
Maybe in the future.
We won't talk about that now.
Just a little teaser for anyone who would like to.
But yeah, we just want this podcast to be something that we do together.
Yeah. Our passion project.
Yeah. We're not expecting this to blow up. We're not expecting it to be a number one on Spotify or number one on YouTube. But it would be good if I get invited to Sidemen football at London Stadium or wherever.
Tinder with Sidemen.
But yeah, it would be good. I know JB wants to really be part of the YouTube boxing team. So anyone out there that wants to scrap, he's ready. He's raring to go.
I wish. One punch man.
But yeah, essentially we do talk a lot of crap, as you probably tell. So we will have a lot to talk about. So hopefully we'll be able to turn this into a weekly running series that we will still continue to enjoy.
Yeah, definitely.
I do say weekly. There probably will be times where we'll go on holiday or we'll take a few breaks, but we are going to attempt to do it weekly. We do work Monday to Friday, 9 till 5 or whatever it is we do. But yeah, we should hopefully do well. Let us know if you like the setup we've got, because we were contemplating what sort of setup we do. This is probably the best idea we had, or best option we had. And obviously, if this podcast does get any bigger, we can hopefully get a good space.
Yeah, get a higher place to get.
Currently in my front room, which is boiling hot.
Yeah.
As you can probably tell, we've got a fan on at the moment.
Yeah. We can't help it. It's too hot.
Yeah. So hopefully the fan isn't too intrusive. But we needed it. We needed it.
Yeah.
It's like a greenhouse in here, essentially.
Yeah, to be honest.
But yeah. Hopefully 2 Men 1 Beard will be a weekly episode.
Yeah. Coming to cinemas near you.
I wish. But yeah. All right. See you guys hopefully soon.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for watching and listening. Remember to follow us, like us, subscribe to us, all that mumbo jumbo people say.
Yep.
Is there a thing like notifications whenever we have new episodes? Is that a thing? Probably. I think there's a bell. I think I see people whenever I watch videos they have a bell.
That's on YouTube and their bell notifications on. It would be very thankful if you support us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye. See ya.